Hey guys, how's it going? So what am I working on now? Well, I got my 2006 Chevy Silverado, and I'm up at my daughter's farm, and I was driving across North Carolina there just yesterday, and I want to give a shout out to the guys in the Kia Sorento, the gray Kia Sorento. They gave me the thumbs up, and they were happy to see me. I guess, at least I think they were, unless I cut them off. uh, but I got a big wrenching with Kenny sticker on the back of my truck, so I think once they went by and they saw me, they realized it was me. But anyway, hey, thanks for watching the channel. I really do appreciate it. So, but anyway, so what am I working on now? It's my 2006 Chevy Silverado. It's a 4.3 V6. It's a 5-speed, and it's a 4x4. Kind of an unusual setup. You don't see too many of these. But anyway, I've had this problem for a little time, and I didn't think too much of it because I really haven't had any drivability issues. It had a code in it for the throttle position sensor. It went away, came back, went away. I just changed the oil before I left. And of course, I don't know if you guys know this, on the instrument cluster, it has a display that says change engine oil. Okay. That'll pop up once it hits whatever the timer is. I had just changed the oil. I did the reset, and I don't know if you guys know this, but to do a reset on one of these, let me just show you here. It says service airbag, but that's typical because I have a bad sensor up front, which I'm going to be replacing that shortly. So anyway, key on. You go change engine oil. All right. How do you reset that on these GMs? Some GMs, you'll have the buttons on the steering wheel, like with a road map and stuff like that, and then you can reset it that way. This vehicle is a pretty bare bones basic vehicle. So in order, and every GM, even the ones that have the buttons that you can do it through, it's gas pedal to the floor 3 times. So watch this. Let me show you something. Because this is not going to do what you think it's going to do. Key on. And then 1, 2, 3. Huh. Still says change engine oil. Okay. Let me try it again. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Nothing. 1, 2, 3, and I'm holding it. I let go. Nothing. So why is that? Well, it reads off the throttle position sensor. That's how it knows it's full throttle or not. Well, guess what? Throttle position sensor is not telling the computer that it's at full throttle. I don't have a scanner with me. I do have a little handheld that I keep up here at my daughter's place for whenever I'm up here. So let's plug that in and let's see what we got. So this happens to be a little Blue Point, and I purchased this a number of years ago. It works fine for what I need, for minor stuff. But let's plug it in. And the connector goes right into the DLC. This is not going to give you the type of information that my scanner would give you. This is basically just a code reader. That's it. You could do the same thing by going to AutoZone or whatever and reading it. This thing does not flash like you could see it in the video. It is actually steady. It's just because it's a video and this is like an LED display. It does this. Any day now. Okay, it's a Chevy, so we're going to scroll down one. We're going to highlight that. Enter. It's a Chevy. Is this your vehicle? Yes. Throttle position sensor, low circuit input, or circuit low input. Okay. What else do we have? Sensor A circuit. Pair immediately. Okay, let's just see. 442, evap system, small leak, evap system, vent control circuit. Okay, it looks like I got a vent solenoid issue as well. Okay, not a big deal. I can fix that. Throttle position sensor. Evap system, small leak. Evap system, vent control circuit, intermittent. So it probably needs a vent solenoid. Throttle position sensor. Okay, so This thing also had issues way back when with, oh, you see the, okay, I just noticed. Sorry. If you look up top, those are the monitors. Since I last cleared it, which I don't remember when the heck that was, those three have not run, and I'm not quite sure. One's CAT, one's oxygen sensor maybe, who knows. A lot of times once trouble code's set, monitors won't run. So it's very possible it's the reason for that. So I'm going to replace the throttle position sensor. Now I also bought a map sensor because way back when this thing also had a map sensor code. And so I do have both. I've just been procrastinating changing them, but now that change oil light is, or indicator is coming up on the driver information center, DIC. Now that that's coming up, I'm like, all right, I have the parts. I may as well throw them in. I have some free time right now, so let's go ahead and let's do this. So here's the throttle position sensor. I think I got this thing on Amazon. Does it even have a date on it? No, I don't even see a date on it. See, I love how it gives 5774, 2.2, 6 liter, 4865. It doesn't say anything about the 4.3, but supposedly it's for the 4.3 also. And on this, it's down right there. So now the big problem is getting to it, because I'm very limited on tools that I have here. So what I'm going to do is just tuck this wire off to the side. And then I'm going to take that air box, air horn, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to take that thing off. Basically, it's just that one wing nut there. Take that off and that whole thing comes up. You have to tilt it forward like this and then pull it this way because of that clamp there. Or it's not really a clamp, it just guides it in place. So let me get that up and out of the way. That out of the way, there's a better shot of the sensor. And it looks to be Torx head screws. And I hope I actually have the tools to do this because I just have a little kit that I got from Harbor Freight that I keep up here at my daughter's place. So basically you're just gonna, I'm sorry about my hand in the way. You're gonna unplug that. And then I gotta get in there and get those little Torxes out. So let me see if I have the right tools to do what I need to do. So the angle isn't quite right because like I said, I don't have the best tools in the world here, but you know, it actually is getting it free. So let me get both screws free and let's get this sensor out and let me show you how these things actually work. I got the top screw out and the bottom screw I gotta have to go under here. It's a pain. I mean, you know, I don't have the right tools, but I could do it. So, luckily they weren't all corroded in place because I've seen these things be corroded in place and they snap when you try to take them off. Had I snapped one, this thing would have waited until I got back to the shop. One thing too I did notice is every once in a blue moon this thing would detonate when I went to go take off. You'd hear pinging and everything else. I'm just wondering if it's because the throttle position was completely wrong and it was giving it the false timing readings. So let's get this out. So now that should just pick off of there. Like that. I'm going to check the shaft there, make sure everything's okay there. So here, that's the inside of the throttle position sensor. There's really nothing special about it. It's just when you were a kid, if you had one of those AFX tracks, you know, slot car tracks, anything like that, where you had the trigger that you would pull, this kind of works the same way. Basically, it gives you one reading at one end, and as you slowly sweep it, it gives you a different reading. It changes the voltage, basically. And what that's for is to basically tell the computer, hey, that's the position your throttle's in. So here's the new one. So let's get that O-ring installed on that and let's get this in place. Now here's the new one. I just put the O-ring in place. Some of them, the piece inside is what turns, but some of them will be spring-loaded. This one is not. So try to just line it up to where the old one was. And if you look, you can kind of see it there. This is reasonably close. It's off a little bit. I could probably turn that with my fingers. I can't show you that and film it at the same time. But at least get it close. You can always stick this thing on, get that part of it caught, and then rotate this to line up the bolt holes. So let's get this on. Now, judging by how the flat is on there and how the flat is here, going to be off just slightly. Let's see if I can get this in place where you can actually see it. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this where you can see it. Yeah, I can't do this like this. All right, unfortunately, you can't watch me do this. All right, so that's in place. It took a little effort with my thumb to push it in place, but it did go in. And as you can see, you can rotate this around, but it's in place. So now I can rotate it to catch the screws. So let me catch the screws. Let's get those tightened up. So there we go. It's in and screwed down. So now let's connect the electrical connector. Just like that. Now, I'm curious, did it actually fix what it was supposed to fix? I'll know right away, because if it resets the oil light, then I know the computer is reading what it needs to read. Let me shut that off. Okay, so key on. 1, 2, 3. Yes, no, maybe so. 1, 2, 3. Maybe not. Now, unfortunately, I don't have my scanner to read it. Let me try clearing the codes and see what happens. Now I'm curious. Now the plot thickens. All right, so I got my little handheld hooked up. All I'm going to do is erase all the codes. So yes, we're going to erase all the codes. Okay, so now it's got to reload. And then we're going to start this thing up out of curiosity and see what's going on. Let me just let this load up first. I swear I wish I had a scanner, but obviously I'm not going to have a $5,000 scanner everywhere I go. Come on, baby. Let's go. Wow, this is painful. Why is this taking so long? All right, let me pull. Oh, there it goes. Oh, see, it's got a throttle sensor A, throttle position sensor A, low circuit, low input. Okay. Okay. That is very interesting. All right. Well, I guess we're going to pick back up on this when we get back to the shop. So, sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it does. I'm going to take it for a ride. I'm curious because actually I'm going to change that map sensor too. Let me do that real quick. Now here's a new map sensor, and really all this is that little flash on the what they call casting flash on that seal. Anyway, this is just a press-in. That's all it is. You just push it in and see it's a no name. I bought this thing a long time ago, and here again, I don't think there's a date on here. I can't for the life of me remember when I bought these things. So be careful because it can cause reproductive harm. Okay. But anyway, so it sits down there. You just basically pull the connector off, and then you hold on, turn the light on. You pop the connector off, and this should just pull straight up. Be careful when you're pulling these things out. Don't twist, don't like bend them, because you could snap that piece off. You obviously don't want to do that. Some of these things have little tabs that hold it and lock it in place. I don't think this has it. Basically, it's just a matter of maneuvering it to get it out of there. So let me get this out. I use two hands to do this so I don't break it. And what I'm talking about is that piece. You don't want to snap that off in the intake manifold. You snap it off in the intake manifold, and you got to get a drill bit, get it caught down in that little tiny hole that it reads off of to pull that piece out. And it can be a pain. So, all right, so that finally popped out. But look at that. Somebody had I never touched this thing in my life. I haven't done anything to this truck, but somebody has siliconed that thing in place. So I'm just going to clean off that little bit of silicone there, and then I'm going to stick the new one down in the hole. So obviously somebody was chasing a problem with this at some point. I've had this truck for 4 years, and I haven't done anything to it. I've changed the oil, that's about it. So, all right, let's clean that off and let's get the new one in place. Okay, so now with that in place, get the air snorkel thing back on, whatever you want to call it. And then you have this vent hose, breather hose, that's got to get hooked up there. And this goes back down in place there. Let me get this set up where it needs to be. Got to do it two-handed. Now that's all back together, so close the hood. Come around. Man, I got to clean this truck. See, it's got moss growing on it. So let's come back in here. Let's fire it up. Let's reestablish communications with the little handheld. Turn that light off. Dun dun dun. Come on. Let me pause this for a second. All right, 100%. So let's take this. Hang on one second. Sorry about that. My grandson was just asking me a question. So let's see. Throttle position sensor. Yeah, so obviously it's a pretty good failure. So unless it lost its 5-volt reference or something like that, I don't know. So let me try clearing it out again, just out of curiosity. Let's turn the motor off real quick. Key on. All right.
What is that?
Change engine oil. Well, like I said, when I get back to the shop, we'll try to figure out what that is. All right, I don't have a check engine light on for right now, but I'm sure once I start driving it, it'll come back on. Let's go for a quick ride. Let me make sure I got no grandkids in the way here. All right, I mean, she runs fine, but the code is coming back. It's a pending code. So, obviously that wasn't it. There's something more to it than what I initially thought. So I'm just going to basically turn around. And I can hear it detonating a little bit, and I got a funny feeling because it doesn't know the correct throttle position. Hang on a second. This thing's a stick shift, so I got to shift. So since this thing doesn't know what the throttle position actually is, it's probably affecting the timing, and that's why it's detonating. I don't know if you're going to hear it. I'm going to hit a hill here in a second. Here just slightly there on the slight downhill. But I tell you, I love this area. This is what this whole area is, just farms and fields. Gotta love it. Yeah, you can't really hear it. Although the throttle response is actually a little better. So I'm not sure what's going on. I'm gonna have to do some wiring checks when I get back. So anyway, that's it for right now. So if you're getting something out of the videos, hit that like button. If you could, please subscribe. All right, guys, have a great day. Keep wrenching.